Hello, everybody. I'm Andy.
And I'm Mark.
And this is Strange Stuff Podcast.
Indeed.
And we are back.
Still.
I mean,
it's been a long break.
For us, it's been a long break. For everybody else, it's just another week, I guess.
Yep.
I mean, We haven't spoken for like 3 weeks or something.
It's not quite as bad as that. But there'll be a jump in the news cycle as it is.
Well, today is, of course, an auspicious date.
Because
if you're a dope head, it's the 4th of May. May the 4th be with you.
And what's the consequence of 4th of May?
Isn't it? It's an American date.
What? Is it a holiday?
No,
it's not a holiday in the States.
No, is it? No, it's an American date. So May would be...
Hang on, I'll find out.
Or is it just the Star Wars reference? May the 4th. May the 4th
May the 4th be with you. Yeah, that's that's a bit thin. May 4th, US. I can't imagine they... USA. Star Wars Day.
Well, there you go.
What is celebrated on the 4th of May? Star Wars Day. Bloody hell, Andy. How can you know stuff like that? Seriously.
How can you not? I mean, it's popular culture.
Why have you got the old labels on? Pablo and Narc you've got here.
Oh, well, that's because they were the last ones we had. I haven't had a chance to change them.
What are you going to change them to?
We're actually the only people who can see this, by the way.
Oh, is it? Oh, I see. The viewers can't see it, or certainly the listeners can't.
This is just if we have guests in the studio, so you don't forget their names.
Is that what it's for? Very good.
Yeah, basically.
Excellent. Good. Oh.
Anyway, so what have you been up to? It's been a while.
Travelling mainly, putting miles on my car. I'm the only person who travels 495 kilometres to have their car serviced.
I don't know. I think Brian Epstein had a couple of motors on his island that probably had to do a bit of travelling to get a service.
Brian? His name wasn't Brian.
Oh, sorry, that's the guy from the Beatles.
His name wasn't Epstein.
The manager, wasn't it? Brian Epstein?
Ah, yes, the manager. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking Jeffrey Epstein.
I had the family come up from Gothenburg and I drove them back down and at the same time organised a service for the car. So it's a bit of a schlap. And it basically adds 1,000 kilometres to the car before I've even started.
Yeah, so you're 1,000 kilometres closer to the next service.
Yeah, exactly. But luckily, quality Land Rover product, it only needs a service every, I think it's 34,000 K.
Ooh, that's not bad.
Is it? 2 years, 34,000 K. So that's what, travelling basically. And obviously Easter, spending time with the family. I've actually babysat my grandson when he was... Well, it must have been about 5 weeks old.
Oh, is he back out on the piss, is she?
No, she was doing an exam.
Is she waking up in a gutter somewhere with her covered in piss, blood and vomit?
Is that what you reckon my offspring do on a regular basis?
That's what I used to do.
I know, exactly. Oh, no, all is well there. So, yeah, it's spring, which helps. Though, in fact, as always, did you have a snow flurry a week and a half ago?
We did have a couple of days.
Really heavy snowfall.
We did have a couple of days of snow.
Exactly after everybody changed to summer tyres.
Yeah, but I mean, it didn't really make a difference.
It didn't stay, luckily. Oh,
It
did it?
stayed, yeah, it stayed for a couple of days, but it was that thick.
Oh,
It's nothing really.
all right. Yeah, yeah. So, what is the general feeling in town? I mean, can you tell that, sort of semi-disaster has struck the town? Is everybody, shops
Well, I,
closing, restaurants empty?
I, I don't know. I don't go out, do I?
No.
I mean, so I'm pretty certain they're not as busy as they were. I'm supposed to be going out this Friday. We're having a bit of a get together for the sad people who no longer have a job
Right.
and the ones who've remained. So we're having a little ex-team building, as it were.
All right. And I'm sure you weren't annoyed at all to read. I don't want to wind you up, but it was absurd. When Northvolt applied for Chapter 11
Chapter 11. Yeah.
in the States,
Yeah.
which didn't secure the future of the company in any way, shape, or form because it still went bust. Do you know what the lawyers' fees were?
Oh, millions.
$42 million, 400 million Swedish krona.
It's how do they justify it?
Well, this is what the article was saying, because it was, I think it was 48,000 man hours, and they were charging at $900 an hour.
Oh, well, that's the going rate, obviously. That's what I charge. Fuck me.
Actually, let me check my maths just before I start doing a Trump and quoting complete bollocks. What did I say? 48,123,000 multiplied by, it was actually 893 as I recall, equals, no, I was right, 42 million.
That's just criminal.
To do nothing, to achieve nothing, they spent $42 million that got them nowhere, just pissed the money down the toilet.
I mean, it's like, oh, we can help you out here, but it's going to cost you 42 million. Oh, great. Here's 42 million. Yeah, sorry.
Let's do it.
Sorry, we couldn't do it, but thanks for the 42 million.
Oh, well, they did do it.
I think did fuck all.
No, it didn't achieve anything, but I think they did actually submit for Chapter 11, but everything accelerated past it.
What is the end goal of Chapter 11? What is it that they're actually doing?
Well, I don't want to bore you with the details. Sometimes it makes sense, but, the hope is that if you apply for Chapter 11 and you're given protection against your creditors, you can turn the business around so that everybody ends up getting paid rather than being forced. It's like, for instance, if you've got a full order book, but they're a year down the road and you can't survive the year up to it, then, there is a lot, there is sense. But
you basically get permission to not pay your bills
for an extended period of time. Absolutely. So it is, in simple terms, I
don't understand how that can take 48,000 man hours. I could have done the whole thing for $1 million.
Or 40. They had how many lawyers charge $900 an hour? I mean, that's just senior partner malarkey.
I mean, I would, at that rate, I probably wouldn't work weekends.
I mean, anyway, so that I was reading it in the newspaper and I thought, this is absurd. I mean, absolutely absurd. Bearing in mind, I know your circumstances.
It's no different to the leadership of the company, just basically filling their suitcases with banknotes before they lose the company completely. We went through so many execs and directors in the last 6 months. Yeah. They're all coming in to get a slice of the pie, all absolutely useless, achieved nothing, but walked out onto the next disaster where they'll all get together again and destroy another fucking company.
No, you're right. I mean,
it's unbelievable.
Couldn't agree more. And what's incredible is it just repeats itself time and time again.
And they give themselves such a pat on the back for doing a great job and a great experience and on to the next adventure. Fucking leechy cunts they are.
I saw, in a slightly different scale, but I saw the CEO of Boeing being grilled by some American Senate committee. He earned, I think it was 38 million he earned.
Oh, that's not a lot.
And driving the company into the ground because, all of the savings and whistleblower. I mean, wasn't a couple of the whistleblowers eliminated?
Well,
didn't they die in suspicious?
They brought planes down, didn't they, Boeing?
Exactly,
because of their shortcuts.
Exactly, and this guy
fucking hell
takes out 38 million.
Yeah, but that he didn't include his bonus though. He forewent his bonus.
No, you're right. What is it when you have? Listeners will have to fact check that because I'm doing it from my memory, and the memory is not great at the moment. But I think it was something along that line. I will remember the numbers for Northvolt correctly. But so it's going on everywhere. But what's his face? Got the boot. Well, sort of. He got the boot. That Waltz fellow, the Waltz chap who added the journalist that he'd never communicated with, but happened to have his contact details on his phone.
Oh yeah,
the signal scandal. He's gone. Waltz has gone. But he didn't get kicked out due to incompetence. You're out on your feet. You're out on your arse, mate. Oh, I'll tell you what you can do. You can be the ambassador to the United Nations.
Oh,
so he's got another peachy job.
He's got a pay rise. And he just has to sit in the sun in the Mediterranean somewhere.
Exactly. I mean, I wouldn't go to the States if they paid me at the moment. If they paid me $1,000, I wouldn't go to the States. I feel sorry for, normal Americans who are living there and having to, people. It's just people being arrested on the street. And did you? I don't know. I know you don't watch the news so much, but did you see Trump? With I think it was ABC reporter saying that the fellow we were talking about the other day, who was deported by mistake to El Salvador,
the hairdresser,
and Trump was saying he has what is it, MS-13? Is that it? MS-13 tattooed on his hand. Of course, he's a member. And the reporter said, well, he doesn't actually have MS Tattoo 13 on his hand. That's what the White House has printed on the page to show what the coding is. No. He's got MS-13 tattooed on his hand. And the reporter said, no, he doesn't. He doesn't have MS-13 And
just
Trump
is saying,
say
it doesn't make it true.
I gave you the opportunity of this interview and you're not being very nice to me. He has MS-13 tattooed on his hand. And the reporter said, let's just move on because he doesn't. But everybody seems to be tied up with this, whether he's a member of, I don't give a shit whether he's a member of MS-13. What I do give a shit about is that he stands up in court and has to prove his innocence. Not prove, but they have to prove him guilty of something. And if he's guilty of being a member of MS-13, which I have a feeling is illegal in itself.
Yeah, it's like being a member of the Nazi Party. You're not allowed.
Illegal? Well, it's obviously not illegal in the States, as Elon Musk has proved. But anyway, even if it is, it would take 10 minutes to prove that he is a member of an illegal organization and deport him. So why don't they do that?
Yeah, but the thing is, he's also an American citizen.
I don't. So he's under protected status, which is not quite the same. He's not an American citizen. I think what he is he went to court in 2019 to establish his right to residency, which he got. But what he's a member of is irrelevant. If it's a terrorist organization, it would if he's literally got a tattoo on his hand that says MS-13, it would take 2.5 minutes to prove he's a member of the gang. He's out. He gets deported.
Well, why don't they do it? It doesn't always work that way either, does it? Because, I mean, if you look at England and the known terrorists that we have living in England in council houses, and they've been there for 25 years, in some cases making bombs.
Well, no, but if they've proven to be done that, most of them are in jail, Andy.
Not all of them. I mean, we've got these hate preachers.
Yeah, no, and you're right. And there's also the worst one of the lot was that cleric
Abu Hamza.
Abu Hamza. He's been in jail loads of times.
I think he's actually in jail in America at the moment.
No, why would he have gone to America?
Because they wanted him over there for something. Is that the one who blew his hands off while he was making bombs?
I don't know. Did he?
Yeah, there was one who blew his hands off.
Is that what happened? The fellow with the claw?
Yes. He was making bombs and he blew his own hands off.
No, that's an urban
myth. And the Americans fitted him with a spork.
A what?
A spork.
What's a spork?
It's a cross between a spoon and a fork. So you can't use it as a weapon, but you can eat your food with it.
No, but I mean, as I say, we have fully functioning justice systems, and there's so many contradictions. How can any policeman in America support the Trump administration?
Well, you either support it or you get sacked, don't you?
Well, clearly. Absolutely clearly. But I mean, was it 5 policemen who got killed on January the 6th? Or was that my memory?
Know. What was that?
January the 6th, when they stormed the
oh, no, I don't
Capitol
think
Hill.
5 policemen got killed.
I think 5 people died. I don't know whether they were all policemen.
No, there would have been I would have remembered that because they would have had some kind of memorial day for our heroes in blue who...
No, they didn't. They released all of the perpetrators, some of which have already been found themselves back inside. What would you call that? Anyway, we can move on to something brighter. I don't think there's much bright news out there. What other good news is out there at the moment?
Good news?
I don't think so. Any? That's a bit sad that we can't think of any good news out there. 1st of May, spring has started. That's got to be good, hasn't it?
Yep, I guess so. I got more bad news. I still haven't been paid. And
am I allowed to ask what your consultant fellow, was he actually able to help?
He's going to write an email, which is what I've already done. But he said that there's hopefully strength in numbers, and also with an outside agency showing an interest, it might push them into action.
And is this to the personnel department?
Yeah,
or
HR.
Is this to the? It is to HR. Oh, yeah. I mean, it might just be enough because obviously they've got how many thousands of people doing the same thing? 2,000 people.
But I mean, the point is that they've had all the time in the world.
Oh.
It's a simple enough job to make sure that the people that you've fucking cast adrift are done so in such a way as to make it as smooth and as comfortable as possible. It's bad enough that there's people here in fear of losing their right to remain in Sweden without losing their right to a fucking apartment as well because they can't pay the rent.
Oh, that's a very good point. I hadn't thought of that. So a lot of people who came there on the basis of having a job, who no longer have a job, unfortunately, Sweden is pretty tough on that sort of thing. Suddenly they're out.
Yeah, they've got 3 months.
That's right. They've got 3 months.
Yeah, but it's going to be a lot shorter than that if they can't afford to pay their rent.
Oh.
And you know what it's like here? If you're a day late with your bills here, you start getting phone calls and letters.
I know. Isn't it funny how people always think of Sweden as such a liberal country? And in many respects it is. But in certain respects it's pretty fucking authoritarian.
If you run out of cash here, you're fucked.
Yeah. Yeah. The good thing is, I think they would never go to the extent of kicking you out of your house.
Private landlord would. Absolutely.
Maybe. In fact, have you checked on that? Are they actually able to?
Of course they are.
You can't in England.
Yeah, but England's stupid.
Well, I think they might have to... I think you're given a grace period where you have to try and work it out.
I don't think it's a grace period, but there's definitely an end date. In England, you can tough it out for years, but
that's what I mean. I mean, you can play the system. What you need to do is develop a disability, Andy.
I've got
And
several.
I know.
I've got lots of mentals.
Don't I know it? No, couldn't you claim your leg is a potential? You can't
No,
walk.
unfortunately, I went to the hospital last week.
Oh, you
And,
didn't get the all clear. Did you say,
more or less.
can you?
More or less, they said, get out of here, you shirker. No, I had a consultancy with a vascular surgeon.
All right.
And he said there's no need for surgery in your case. Said
You're not worth it.
No, it's a waste of money.
Exactly. What's the point in saving someone like you?
He said the difference in blood pressure from my arm to my ankle is fairly negligible.
Really?
So basically, all I need to do is basically more exercise and push through the pain that I get.
Really? Shit, Is that what he said? Push through the pain, Andy.
Yeah,
Man
but
up,
I don't.
if that's
you
not
know,
sexist.
the pain is really intense
Is
when
it?
it happens. Yeah.
What
It's
is it,
not
like a
something-
stitch?
It's like a cramp in the leg.
Oh shit, that is painful.
And you can't push through it. You have to stop. But
Yeah, you can, Andy. I know you can do it.
Oh, shut up, you fucking motivational tosser. Anyway, enough of that nonsense.
All right.
Do you remember a few weeks ago we were talking about Julius Caesar and we never got to talk about him?
What? We spent 2 weeks talking about something completely unrelated to Julius Caesar.
But we were going to talk about Julius Caesar.
No, it was assassinations we were talking about.
No, we ended up talking about assassinations, but we were going to talk about Julius Caesar particularly.
Oh, I see. Well, he's not very well known. What's the interest in Julius Caesar?
Oh my God.
What's special about Julius Caesar?
Oh, nothing. Just Roman Empire, murder.
I just got his name wrong. Did I
intrigue.
say Julius Caesar?
Do you know his name was actually Gaius?
Gaius Caesar.
Gaius Julius Caesar. But I think once he came into power, he said, next one who calls me gay, getting fucking assassinated.
That's not so surprising. Well, Gay is certainly still a woman's name. There must be a male equivalent, and maybe it's Gaius. I wonder how many children get called Gay these days.
Most of them at my school.
I won't look that up, actually.
Oh, that went straight over your head.
What did you do? Sorry, I missed it. I was thinking something else. What did you say? Most of the people at your school?
Yeah, most of the kids at my school got called gay.
Isn't it terrible? I mean, I say terrible. I mean, that was the time we were in. It was all relevant, whatever. It was the times. But I remember there was some poor fellow whose surname was K.
Gay K.
And, that was literally on the playground. Be gay, the K way. I mean, that was just... And, of course it's offensive. I don't suppose. I'm sure it was offensive in those days, but the things we used to do, picking on the weakest. I mean, not that we were that bad at my school, but it was an all boys school. So there was a certain degree of bullying going on. That was for sure. I mean, but having said that, I reckon if you gave the kids today the choice of being in school, even though, we used to get the cane and shit like that, I reckon a lot of kids today, with all of the social media, depression and all of that sort of shit, like wanting likes all day long, I reckon a lot of them would want to go back to. They would actually choose to go into a school where there's no social media pressure. You don't have to worry about going home by yourself, and occasionally you get caned if you're naughty.
I think if I had the opportunity to remove one invention
it would
from
be
the face of the earth, it would be the mobile phone.
Yeah. But isn't it amazing that, I don't know if it still is, it's not, I don't think it is, but Apple is certainly one of the biggest companies in the world globally. And you have to accept that there are certain advantages of having a mobile phone, but the amount of pain and suffering smartphones, it's not just Apple, it's obviously Samsung and whatever else there is, but the amount of pain and suffering that has come with it, you have to say, is it really worth it?
Yeah. No, I think a global EMP blow out all of our phone systems.
What's an EMP?
Electromagnetic pulse.
Oh, I see. To literally kill them all the devices.
Take out all the devices.
Wow. One thing.
A lot of women trying to work out what's wrong with their vibrators. Why are they working? Why are they working?
That's got nothing to do with a smartphone.
I bet if you've got a remote-controlled rabbit.
What do you mean a remote control? You can't have a remote control on your vibrator.
Of course you can.
What do you mean, like an app? Or do you mean like a TV remote?
Either way, you can have an app for your vibe.
Don't be ridiculous.
Of course you can. You can scroll while you're actually getting yourself off.
Oh, people don't do that. You don't think if you're just about to have a little self-stimulation fun, you don't think, oh, I know, I'll open my phone.
No, but you want the app for it. You want to insta yourself at the proper moment, don't you?
What do you mean? People don't walk around with these things, and they just sitting on the bus and feel like, I have a quick section on the bus.
Have you never heard of love eggs?
Yeah, but they're not remote control.
Oh, you can get remote controlled love eggs. And the best way is give your partner the remote so that you get caught unawares.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
Sitting there in a restaurant enjoying your meal at a family function, and all of a sudden you start going into cloud nine.
That's just your fantasy, and you've had too much time at home to think of these. Well, they're not bad fantasies. I suppose they would be quite fun to try, I suppose. Have you ever had an egg where you've given the remote control to someone?
A remote-controlled peg.
What's a peg?
Oh, come on, you know what a peg is. Every time we mention pegging, you always say, what's that?
Yeah, but it must have been at least a year ago, and it's not something I do on a regular basis, so I forget what it is.
Well, I would have thought now you're back with your girlfriend, you're probably back into the rhythm of being pegged.
Oh, yeah, all the time. I'm sure I do it regularly. Anyway, what got us onto that? Be gay the K way. I wonder if he's still alive. I hope so.
Listen, we're going to go. We got to start this bloody subject. We were going to talk about Julius Caesar a few weeks ago, so I thought we'd do that today. But then I got caught up with one of his compatriots.
Maximus.
You're not far off.
Oh, really?
You're not far off, because it was 25 years ago, actually, when Gladiator was released on our screens.
No.
Yeah, it was 2000.
Russell Crowe was, what's his face, 25 years ago?
25 years ago.
Holy shit. He doesn't look so Gladiator-like these days, does he, Russell Crowe?
No, he looks like a little fat, beardy bloke. He looks like a proper train spotter.
I don't think he's a little fat, beardy bloke, actually.
Well, he's a big, fat, beardy bloke.
I was going to say, I would be a little bit careful of how you describe him.
He's not that big, you know, in real life.
He is.
He's not that big. You know, he played with his band down at the Borderline once.
Did he? What, while you were there?
Yeah, of course.
Really?
Yeah, we had Bruce Willis play down there as well.
Poor fellow.
When they made The Fifth Element, they made a lot.
The Sixth Element.
The Fifth Element.
Oh, was it?
And they had because they filmed a lot of that at either Shepperton or Elstree. And
yes.
They had the rap party at the Borderline. So Bruce Willis and his band provided the entertainment. And likewise, Russell Crowe and his band did a gig there one night. Meg Ryan, he was seeing at the time, she was in there too.
Meg Ryan?
Yeah. She was banging Russel Crowe at the time. So she was in attendance. She's quite a foxy lady, or she was.
Well, I can tell you that Russel Crowe's very tall.
Yeah, but he's not. He wasn't massive.
I say very tall because he's the same height as me.
Yeah, he's not massive.
180. He's 6 foot.
Anyway, do you remember the character Commodus, or as I like to call him, Commodus?
Commodus was a baddie, wasn't he?
He was. He was the emperor's son. If you remember, the emperor was sick.
Oh, so, yes, played by
Joaquin Phoenix.
Joaquin Phoenix, exactly. Yeah. He was. Of course, I do. Absolutely. He was the one that had a go at his sister.
He's actually based on a real life character.
Whose name was Commodus or Commodus?
His name was Commodus or Commodus. I like Commodus.
I bet you do. Dirty mouth, toilet breath.
But he was actually the character they created for the film. They had to whitewash to sort of cover up his degenerative insanity.
Oh, really? He was really bad, was he?
He was born into a world that basically prepared him to be a ruler, and he grew up believing the most fantastic things about himself. He fought in the arena with ancient Roman gladiators, which was unheard of for
exactly.
emperors.
That's got to be a point for him, hasn't it?
Possibly.
Or were the other people's swords 5 centimetres long as opposed to 1.5 meters for his own blade?
I imagine there was a little bit of weighting going on.
Yes.
Like the wheelchairs had square wheels for the opponents.
For the other. Shouldn't laugh.
The three-legged lions had no claws or teeth.
No.
But anyway, he was born at the end of August in 161 AD.
161 AD, 150 years before the death of the Roman Empire. Let me just tell you one thing. I got scratched by the cat the other day. A cat's claws are ludicrously sharp.
Oh, I know.
I mean, it was like a knife,
Yeah, they can shred you.
I never realised a cat, you sort of look at the nails of a cat and you think, yeah, they're probably pretty sharp. But I mean, they're literally like knives.
Yeah, they climb trees. I mean, they walk up walls, basically.
Anyway, so he was born or he died 160 AD?
He was born 161 AD. And he had a twin brother, Antonius. And they were the sons of the emperor, Marcus Aurelius.
Oh, yes, of course.
And Faustina the younger. I'm guessing Faustina the older was her sister.
Could have been. What was the mother's name?
She was the...
Oh, sorry, not mother. I'm not interested in the mother. The sister, because did they actually have a sister, or was that invention by Hollywood?
Oh no, there is a sister. Before Commodus was born, Faustina had a dream where she gave birth to 2 snakes.
Nice.
One snake was much stronger than the other.
Ate the little one.
And when the astrologers went on to say that Antonius had the more promising future, it was assumed that Commodus was destined for mediocrity.
Oh dear.
Unfortunately for history, Antonius died of an illness at age of 4.
All right.
Now, being the 10th of 14 children, Commodus...
Marcus Aurelius had 14 kids.
Yeah. Commodus ultimately became the only male child to survive childhood. So groomed to run the empire from a pretty young age, his health was a top priority. And he had his own physician named Galen, whose sole priority was to keep the young emperor healthy.
That must have been a bit of a pressure job.
Especially in those days, when you had no fucking knowledge, no medicines, no expertise in anything except
Of
ghosts.
course they did.
What? They had witchcraft, for God's
Don't be
sake.
ridiculous. Chinese medicine's been around for
They
more
had
than...
leeches.
I'm not saying they always got it right, but yeah, medicine's been around for a long time,
Got
Andy.
a problem with your stomach, young sir? Let's have
Rip
a look
it
at
out.
your stool.
Is that what they've done to you? Do they do that to you in Skellefteå? Do you get a test every couple of years?
Oh, actually, they sent me one for my birthday. I haven't sent it back yet.
What, have you been saving it for a good curry or something?
No, I keep... It's the whole process of that is just... I could do without it.
It's worth doing. I tell you, my cousin, he should have found out a lot earlier than he did. Anyway, carry on.
Well, I mean, you obviously know the story of Caligula.
Yeah, but I don't know what it could relate. I don't know, Caligula. I saw the film about 40 years ago.
Well,
That
he
feather,
used to have...
feathery machine.
Yes. Caligula was actually... I saw that in the Prince Charles Cinema or the Prince Charles Theatre.
That was a porn cinema.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
But
Anybody
Caligula
who
was...
lived in London will know
Caligula actually was classed as a bit of a porn film.
Bloody right it was.
Even though it had Roddy McDowall in it. Or
Did it?
Malcolm McDowell.
I think it was Malcolm McDowell.
And it was basically given an X rating because it was more or less a porn film because of the orgy scenes. But that was nothing compared to what Commodus got up to. And
What?
there's a
Commodus
package...
was worse than Caligula?
Oh, yeah. There's a passage from a book called The History Augusta, and it says, Commodus lived rioting in the palace amid banquets and baths, along with 300 concubines, gathered together for their beauty and chosen from both matrons and harlots, and with minions, also 300 in number, whom he had collected by force and by purchase indiscriminately from the common people and the nobles solely on the basis of bodily beauty. So he basically selected himself the most beautiful people that he could find and took them.
Was that unusual for the Roman Empire?
Well, probably not that unusual, but to the extent of 600.
It's only a couple of years, a couple of days. Give you a bit of a
one
rotation.
Time, no, you don't. You've obviously never been to a Roman orgy. It's never one-on-one. Everybody goes at it at the same time.
Don't be ridiculous. There wouldn't be room for 300 people to have 600 people to have an orgy.
Of course, they didn't live in a 2 up, 2 down in Basingstoke. They had the Roman palaces. They had plenty of room.
Well, so far, that's not too bad. I mean, just having 300 concubines and 300, other entertainers, that's not too horrific, not too surprising as far as I'm concerned.
Well, so he spent his days gathering through acquisition or force an army of sex slaves composed of 300 women and 300 boys. And I think it was more boys than men.
And so does that mean it didn't really matter for him?
And
whether it was a girl or a boy?
Massive, prolonged orgies were only the beginning of Commodus's sexual depravity.
Oh, dear. Well,
Commodus ordered the death of his sister Lucilla when he found out that she had been plotting to kill him. He then proceeded to rape the rest of his remaining sisters and named one of his concubines after his mother. And it says in the Historia Augusta, after debauching his other sisters, as it is said, he formed a sexual relationship with a cousin of his father and even gave the name of his mother to one of his concubines.
yeah, but if he's got 300 concubines, it's hardly surprising. I would be struggling to find names for 300 concubines.
Well, perhaps they've already got a name. You can't just... It's not like a dog.
I mean, the chances of having 300 concubines and none of them being called the same name as your mum is pretty... Statistically unlikely, let's put it like that.
His wife, who he caught in adultery, he drove from his house. They then banished her, and then later on he put her to death as well. And by his orders, his concubines were also debauched or raped before his own eyes.
Well, he's obviously not a nice chap, clearly.
No, he's obviously a fucking sociopath. But his most enduring pastime was fighting in the Colosseum.
Well, there you go.
For what it's worth, he was pretty decent at it too.
Did he ever get seriously injured? Did he lose an arm?
Although being the emperor probably helped.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
Some accounts claim that he was a fearless animal of a murderer, while others say that he was in the arena with defenceless animals, hapless gladiators, allegedly the physically handicapped, and servants who were meant to do nothing more than fall on his sword or run very quickly towards his pointy bits.
That was the Joachim also. He rated himself in the arena, didn't he? Or was that that my imagination?
No, that is the only thing about the character that is true to the story.
Well, and the fact he slept with his sister.
Oh, and his horse. But
and
rather
his what?
And his horse.
What, not in the movie?
Oh, no, that was Caligula.
What?
Yes, he slept with his horse, didn't he, Caligula? Yes, he woke up in bed with his horse lying next to him. Don't you remember? Fucking classic.
That was Godfather.
No, that was a dead horse's head. This was a live horse smoking a cigarette post-coital.
I only saw the movie once, Andy, 40 years ago. You obviously you've probably got the CD at home.
I've got it on VHS.
You got it on VHS, of course you do.
Anyway, rather than make him a celebrated warrior among Romans, his fighting in the arena had quite the opposite effect, because in Roman society, gladiators were slaves of the lowest class, and an emperor who lived and competed with these men was seen as debasing himself in the worst possible way.
But I thought the gladiators got the respect of the public.
No.
Well, what do you mean? You must have seen the movie. Russell got pretty well respected.
They went there to see them die.
Yeah, but the whole basis of the movie was that Russell managed to get the Roman people behind him.
You know, Hollywood is not real life.
Well, it's pretty close to it, isn't it?
You don't pay to go and see a bloodbath and then someone walks out at the end and you give them a standing ovation. Fuck that. I want my money's worth. I came here to see you die, mate. That's what gladiators were all about. They were meat for the grinder.
Remind me never to go to a world wrestling fight with you. You'll be shouting in the back row, die, die.
Commodus didn't really care what anyone thought about his gladiatorial...
Sorry, was he emperor at this stage? Was it Emperor Commodus?
Yes.
Yeah.
He didn't really care what people thought of his gladiatorial spectacles. He just wanted an audience. So he ordered that his exploits be posted in the City Gazette, and he demanded that most high-ranking political officials attended his matches. As a gladiator, Commodus discarded his family name and issued orders that he was not to be called Commodus, son of Marcus, but Hercules, son of Zeus.
He's a mate of Trump. I wonder if there's any bloodline connection between Trump and Commodus.
It's probably direct, maternally.
Exactly. So what does he call himself? Hercules, son of Zeus.
Son of Zeus.
Good man. Well, you know. Did you see that thing of Trump posting a picture of him as the Pope?
Oh, fuck off.
And what was even more incredible, the White House then posted it on the White House website. And it's literally so picture on his own social media. I mean, it wasn't him, obviously. He creates a picture of himself dressed as the Pope. And the White House think, oh, that's funny. We're going to post it on the White House website.
I have questions.
I bet you do.
All this fuss about the Pope dying.
What do you mean? Yeah, he's died, yeah.
They made out like he was some kind of fucking world saviour saint person. What the fuck? What did he do?
What do you mean? To the 1.2 billion Catholics in the world, he probably is a bit of a saint.
There was almost as much fuss about him as there was about Princess Diana. No one. I didn't even know the guy's name.
Francis?
Yeah, it means nothing to me.
You didn't know what the name of the Pope... I mean, I'm not
No.
practicing Catholic, but I knew what the name Francis was.
No idea.
I'll tell you a really good movie that you should watch. It's called The Two Popes. Nothing to do with you. It's an excellent movie, and it's basically a conversation, theoretical, hypothetical, conversation between Francis and Benedict, Zweitlinger, whatever his name is, Ratzinger. Very interesting film. Very interesting film.
Is it?
Francis was a lot of expectation that they thought he was going to be a good. Well, he was a good pope, but
how do you define a good pope?
Well, he made an effort initially to clean things up, but
come on, it's nonsense. I was thinking about this morning. About I can't remember why it came into my head, but Mother Teresa came into my head. And like,
what's she got to do with the Pope?
Well, the Roman Catholic Church's idea of like PR is, what can we do to make ourselves look good? Oh, I know. Let's give Mother Teresa a sainthood. She was worse than Hitler.
Well, not quite. Though, according to Hitchens, she was
worse than Hitler. She literally stood there and collected poor and sick people and watched them die, offering no succour or help whatsoever.
No, I never read the book, but whatever.
Didn't need a book. I mean, her method was let them suffer because it brings them closer to God. So the more pain, the more pain they were in, the happier she was.
No, I think that's a misrepresentation.
No,
the reason why Mother Teresa has been much criticised is the people she aligned herself with to get money to care for these sick and poor.
No, but she didn't use that money to care for those people.
Well,
that's the whole point.
She didn't spend it on her wardrobe, did she? Because I've never seen her in anything other than the same dress.
All that money went straight to the Bank of Rome.
No, but what disappointed me about Francis was, do you know that what was that movie about the Bishop of Boston who was moving paedophile priests around? There was a very good movie. Might have had Tom Hanks in it. What? Excellent movie.
Tom Hanks has never played a serious role.
He has, actually. Anyway, it turns out that the Bishop of Boston, having been widely exposed as someone who moved paedophile priests around, he was still working in the Vatican.
Yeah, of course.
He is working in the Vatican.
Yes, because it's an old boys' club.
Well, anyway, what got us onto Pope Francis?
I don't know. Anyway.
You were talking Commodus.
Yes, we're talking about the commode of Rome. So anyway, while he was in the Gladiator mode, he would abandon his Roman and imperial mode of dress, and instead he would wear a lion's skin and carried the club of Hercules. So he used to club these poor disabled mentals to death. His mania went a little bit further than that as well. He began erecting Hercules-style statues to himself in the hopes that they might inspire a fear of him. And he also began naming more than 1 month of the year after himself.
Well, there isn't 1 month of the year named after Hercules or Commodus.
Now.
Well, we have the Roman calendar, don't we, or not?
At the time, he was naming months of the year after himself.
Honestly,
I would imagine that August is one of them.
Could be. Now, honestly, nothing you've told me so far is that shocking.
Really?
For the period of time. If you got up to what he did then now, I might have a word or two, a quiet word in the background.
Well, a fire broke out in 191 AD, and it burned large portions of Rome. And Commodus chose to rebuild the city and also rename it Colonia Lucia Annia Commodiana instead of Rome.
Not bad for a bit of Latin there, Andy.
And the citizens of the world's greatest city would be known as Commodiani.
Commodiani.
And when the emperor decided to celebrate the city's rebirth on New Year's Day in 193, a cabal of high-ranking officials decided enough was enough. One of his mistresses, Marcia, his chamberlain, and his highest-ranking Praetorian guard attempted to poison him with a glass of wine.
Attempted to? Oh dear, that's not good.
Unfortunately,
you want to make sure you get it right.
The wine failed.
Okay.
So Commodus's fitness trainer, a professional wrestler named Narcissus, charged into the bathroom and he choked the emperor out.
To death?
Yes.
Is that to death?
Yeah.
So the poisoning failed, so they just thought, fuck it.
We'll strangle the cunt.
Poor guy. So that was the end of Commodus. So how old was he? 1990, 30. 191, 30. So he was only 30.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you say only 30. That was pretty old in those days.
No, I was just about to say, what was the life expectancy in Roman times? It was probably about 40.
Depending on your occupation.
Not very much.
If you were in the Roman army, probably about 12.
No. The Roman army did very well. If you were a gladiator, you didn't last very long.
Now, after his death, several people wanted his body dragged through the streets. But some saintly person decided that his body should simply be laid to rest.
Now, am I allowed to interject with a slight story that's in the newspapers at the moment that you may not have read? Talking about poisoning. Did you hear about this Australian woman who's charged with killing 3 of her in-laws with a poisoned beef Wellington, which I happened to make?
Which she had samples of in her freezer.
What? Samples of what?
The mushrooms that she used.
What, the death head mushrooms? It does sound a little bit suspicious. I mean, if she had actually done, you can only hear what's been reported, if she'd actually done searches for black cat mushroom.
Black death, do not eat death cap, death mushroom.
Exactly. And then actually having been noted by her mobile phones tracking that she'd been to an area reported to have had death cap mushrooms. I mean, she obviously is entitled to claim her innocence. They found
them in her freezer.
Oh, they actually found them in her freezer.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, but she claimed that she bought them at an Asian supermarket that she couldn't quite remember where it was.
Or what it was, what it looked like, or the guy. Except.
That's pretty horrific, isn't it?
Yeah. Anyway, back to Commodus.
He's dead. He can't be back to him.
Yeah, but now we're going back to his childhood.
Oh, right.
And as a child, as I said earlier, he was raised to believe that the world was at his beck and call, and it was. And this indulgence... I wonder
how many of the sisters survived. If there were 14 kids, he was the only remaining son. He killed his sister who tried to assassinate him or have him assassinated. I wonder how many surviving sisters he had.
I don't know, but he had to do them all, so I hope it wasn't too many, otherwise he'd have been exhausted.
Well, he'd probably quite fit in that regard if he had 300 concubines to keep going.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the whole point of an orgy, is they sort each other out while you're having a break. So you can have a smoko.
Honestly, Andy, I've never had an orgy. And what's more, I've got no interest, absolutely no interest in
Oh,
being in the same room with some other bloke's dangly bits. Absolutely
but
not.
if they're dangling, they're no good at an orgy.
Oh dear.
Now, the the indulgence of having the world at your beck and call sort of gave way to a streak of cruelty in the young Commodus. For example, when he was just 12, he ordered the death of one of his servants. Apparently, the servant had not made the water hot enough for his bath. So he ordered the man to be thrown into the furnace. Fortunately, the child wasn't completely in charge by that stage, so somebody just burnt a lambskin in the hopes that the smell would convince the little Caesar that his command had been carried out.
There was a series on TV called Rome, and there were a number of characters, obviously based on this chap, who used to do exactly that sort of thing.
Yeah. Now, understanding that Marcus Aurelius had impossible expectations of his heir might explain why Commodus's behaviour swung so wildly in the opposite direction. He took very little interest in his leadership responsibilities and seemed to think that being the Emperor of Rome was solely a gateway to getting everything he wanted, a bit like Trump and being president. In spite of these clearly visible flaws, Commodus was rapidly promoted through the ranks, and at the age of 15, he became an imperator, which is similar to the rank of a commander in the army.
What? Imperator?
Yeah.
Never heard of it.
That's because you've never been a member of the Roman Legion.
And sorry, what was it? A rank of what?
A commander.
Well, that doesn't sound very senior.
It's pretty senior for a 15-year-old.
Hmm.
The next year, Commodus was promoted to Augustus, which is a rank that was the equivalent of the co-ruler of the Roman Empire.
That's more like it.
Though he was technically in control, so he's 16 at this stage.
Yeah.
Though he was technically in control, most people knew that Marcus Aurelius was the real power in Rome, at least for the next 3 years.
Before he died?
He died in 180 AD, and Commodus became the true emperor of the Roman Empire.
But did Commodus kill his father? Wasn't that what happened in the movie?
He did put his father to sleep with a pillow over his face, didn't he?
Yeah, he didn't quite put him to sleep. I think he killed him, actually.
Well, he said night-night.
He said night-night and then killed him.
Yeah. And to be fair, the relationship between Commodus and Marcus Aurelius was probably never going to work, because Marcus expected that his mildly inbred offspring would be the best ruler in the history of subjugation, and he had insanely high expectations of his son that put a lot of pressure on Commodus. And with such impossible standards, Commodus repeatedly disappointed his father. Another source of his disappointment came in the form of rumours that Commodus was actually the product of an affair that Faustina had with a gladiator.
No.
And that sneaking suspicion may have fueled Marcus Aurelius's unrelenting pressure on his son. Of course, Commodus wasn't exactly doing his best to live up to his father's crazy expectations.
I don't think if I was a gladiator that I would like to expose myself to sleeping with the emperor's missus. That's sort of like a bit of a recipe for disaster, isn't it?
Well, if you've got a choice between going out and fighting 6 hungry lions or having a bit of nookie with the Queen...
Yeah, maybe if you put it like that. Yeah, I suppose you get a bit of nookie with the Queen before you have to fight 6 lions.
Yeah, I mean, what's the worst that can happen?
Well, the Emperor finds out, and you get, what's worse? What's a worse death than 6 lions?
7 lions? I don't know.
1 lion, actually, because it would take longer.
It wouldn't take that long. Now, if you're looking for real life parallels between history and the events of the Gladiator from 2000, it would probably be found in the first assassination attempt on Commodus in 182 AD, when his sister Annia Lucilla, who he had repeatedly had sexual relations with, and a former consul named Marcus Umidus Quadratus conspired to put Lucilla's second husband, Tiberius Claudius Pompeianus.
No, that's not Pumpuranus.
Pompeianus, I'm sure it's supposed to be, but Pompeianus. Tiberius Claudius Pompeianus on the throne. Unfortunately for the conspirators, this isn't funny, this is murder.
You're right.
Unfortunately for the conspirators, their chosen assassin sucked at his job.
The poisoner.
His attack on the emperor caused no harm. And Commodus had to... I mean...
How can you cause no harm? How can you hire an assassin that doesn't even cause any pain?
I will put these tea leaves in his drink. They will surely kill him.
They tried to beat him to death with cotton wool buds.
So anyway, Commodus had the remaining conspirators executed, including his sister.
I don't blame him, actually. But I don't blame him.
If he wasn't actually poisoned, how does he know that someone was trying to poison him?
Ah, that's a good point. Maybe it was just all a fabrication.
It seems like he just wanted her out of the way to me.
Could be.
So after this alleged attempt on his life, he had a whole slew of people executed. First, one of his highest ranking praetorians, the prefect Taratinius Paternus, who was assassinated for being even potentially involved in the plot. Ah, you could have been involved. You're out. Did you? You could have. You're out. So he got rid of a fair few people. He also got rid of several high-ranking politicians and aristocrats, a lot of whom weren't even involved in the conspiracy. The emperor went so far as to wipe out one family's entire line because he claimed that the children might plot against him in the future.
Obviously a very balanced individual, this one.
I mean, this is a man who goes root and branch. In the wake of Tarantinius Paternus's execution, the day-to-day running of the empire fell to the one remaining prefect in the Praetorian Guard, a man named Tigidus Perennis. An invariably ambitious man, he easily persuaded Commodus to indulge himself in endless arrays of physical pleasure while he took on the stress of running the government.
What drugs did they have available in those days?
Opium, I would imagine.
Oh, yes, opium. That's quite a good one. Oh, were they into drugs, the Romans?
They were heavily into wine.
Yeah, that's true. But you don't go.
I would say that they were definitely on the smack. I think heroin was available. The poppy has always been.
Because the Roman Empire extended well down into the Middle East, where they used to grow the old poppy stuff. I wonder when heroin was first. Not invented, but it must have been around for hundreds of years, heroin.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask Google that. Who invented heroin?
So Perennis only held on to control for a few years until Commodus decided that his prefect had actually too much power and he had Perennis executed himself. After that, he handed the reins of control to another official, and then another, and then another. Always with the same result.
Death.
So historical accounts of Commodus call him a physically attractive young man with thick curly blonde hair. Unfortunately, his physical beauty didn't extend below the surface.
Holy shit, heroin wasn't invented until 1874.
In its present day form, but people have been partaking of the poppy for hundreds of years.
All right.
Not only did Commodus have a reputation for being easily persuaded by those around him, but he was also known to possess an ineffable weakness of character that put people off. Even worse, he was also prone to unpredictable flights of excessive cruelty and very strange behaviour. And this behaviour was kept somewhat restrained while Marcus Aurelius was alive, but there were some who whispered that Commodus might just end up as another Nero.
I don't want to put our American listeners off, but it does sound a bit Trumpy, doesn't it?
I don't know. Will Trump fiddle while America burns, do you think?
What else is he doing? Do you know how many times he's played golf?
He's
been at work 100 days. He's played golf
93 times.
24 times. A quarter of the days that he's been at work, he's played golf. Anyway.
Well, he should be working for Northvolt. It's basically what they did.
Well, they've got a nice golf course, do they?
Well, they must have been doing something with their time.
Did you have to give up your membership to the executive golf course in Skellefteå?
I didn't have one. Anyway, that sort of brings us to the end of Commodus.
I think we should do one about Pump Uranus.
And this week's episode. We should do more on Pump Uranus.
So, I don't want to point out the obvious, Andy, but this is the third episode we haven't talked about Julius Caesar.
Yes, I know, and eventually we'll get to him.
I mean, we're going to have an endless assortment of strange people in the Roman Empire. I mean, we could spend our life talking about weird people.
But as long as it's entertaining and interesting and strange, then I don't see why not.
I must admit, I wasn't conscious that Commodus was such a nasty character. I mean, obviously, I thought it was Hollywood. I didn't realise there was an actual character called
Commodus.
No,
they actually cleaned him up for Hollywood.
Yeah. Oh. All right. Good. Well, is that it then?
Yeah, I'm afraid so. That's the end of this week's episode.
It's been an hour and 6 minutes.
Yeah, I know. If time flies when you're having fun.
Clearly.
And I think this would be episode number 189.
Ooh, we're getting near. 11 episodes to go.
Yeah.
And you've already got something lined up for episode 200, haven't you?
I have, yeah. You're going to love
David
it.
Icke.
No, we did him on episode 100. Possibly.
Did we?
It might have
Was
been.
it 100?
Yeah. And hopefully episode 200 will have the same impact as episode 100.
Indeed.
We shall see.
Yep. Very good. Well done.
Anyway, thanks for listening. If you made it this far, don't forget you can hear us also on patreon.com/strange stuff podcast, where for the price of a coffee or a pint, you can get, I think, maybe another 50 episodes by now.
Really?
Yeah, unbelievable. And some of them are actually free as well. If you haven't heard them, nip over there and you can listen to some free episodes.
Oh, you're talking about the bloody bits?
Yeah, the murdery bits.
Oh, the murdery bits. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're over 50 episodes now.
All right.
Which is pretty damn decent.
Indeed.
Anyway.
All right.
Have yourselves a strange week. If you're going to rule the Roman Empire, don't be a gladiator and try to leave your sisters alone. It's just not the done thing, especially in this day and age.
Indeed.
And we'll see you same time, same place next week.
Cheerio for now.
Bye for now.